Hi everyone, welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Christian Bible. I use King James Version to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered testimony of the different prophets, and I wrote it into the book of Zion. But in order to publish the book of Zion, I had to write another book called the Pot Smoker's Bible, which is its commentary. And in order to fulfill the last obligation that I have to become Zion, I am publishing Peace here on social media. So I'm going to pick up where I left off last time in the reading of the 18th chapter of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the 15th chapter of the Book of Zion. And we begin today with Nahum 1, 9 to 13, which becomes Zion 15, 26 to 30. What do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end of the affliction. It shall not rise up a second time. For while they be holden together as thorns, and while they are drunken like drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagines evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet thus shall they be cut down, when he shall pass through. Though I have afflicted, I will afflict no more. Nahum asks the governments what they intend with their affliction of the poor and the drug users. The answer is that one of them, Ronald Reagan, I believe, imagined an end to my people, a war to be waged to end us once and for all. War is declared when a government has decided that another nation must be destroyed, overcome, and forced to comply with its demands. In Reagan's case, to eliminate all use of drugs for all time by all people under penalty of total loss of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In other words, Reagan imagined a great evil against the people of God, and therefore against God. He was an evil counselor. From October 14th, 1982 on, my people have suffered untold. We quietly live our lives trying to avoid notice by the authorities. We party in small groups with no unity, and because we do not stand up for our lost rights, we are systematically hunted down and imprisoned. When we gather together as a nation in our tents, the Gray will answer our call and appear to ensure our spiritual survival. The Gray will champion our cause and ensure that the war on drugs will never again be allowed. The Gray will be the proof of our right as a people to use drugs. It will also award us a mountain home and the status of a nation. The testimony of the prophets will ensure that the war on drugs will end. The arrival of the Gray in answer to Zion's call will be the proof that ends all prohibition against the people of Zion. Which brings us to Micah 2, 1 to 4. That becomes Zion 15, 31 to 34. Woe unto them that desire iniquity, and work evil upon their beds. Woe unto them that devise iniquity, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. And they covet fields, and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, against their family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hauntily, for this is an evil time. In that day shall one take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, We be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he hath divided our fields. Micah 2 1-4 foretells the future suffering of the wealthy humans who refuse to repent of their sins, the one percenters, and the blind who believe myths. These are the people who have created the injustice and the suffering of those who the grave come to save. The guilty will soon be the ones who cry out in need. These are the people who have either carried out the laws or blindly followed those laws. Laws created in private to strip their victims of everything. Those laws are called the war on drugs. The grave will end the war. They will award to the people so abused all unclaimed property, everything not yet bought. This will strip America of all its abundance. This award will be given to be restitution for all of the confiscated property of the people of Zion. The people of Zion will be given the Rocky Mountains and the foothills of the Rockies above a certain elevation. 15,000 feet above sea level, I believe, is the appropriate elevation, which will provide the people of Zion a homeland of their very own. I am placing our boundary at 15,000 feet. That is because it will put our boundary at the edge of the Oglala Aquifer. This subterranean sea has been both polluted and depleted to the point of collapse. I theorize that the Grand Canyon was once an aquifer, which was depleted by the cliff dwellers of the Southwest and subsequently collapsed. For that reason, I believe 15,000 feet will become a natural border, being the elevation bordering the aquifer. I remember reading about an ancient event that shook the planet and was heard all over the world and was never explained. I don't remember the specifics, but I believe that event was the collapse of the Grand Canyon. I may be mistaken. Perhaps someone will be able to find this obscure reference for me. The awarding of restitution to the people of Zion is a direct response to the all outstripping of my people's belongings. The war on drugs has laws which give the state the possessions of their victims. The restitution will reimburse us for this stolen property. All property of value is claimed to be illegally obtained through the criminal activities. Yet most of the victims bought their things with hard-earned legitimate employment. Very few dealers actually deal for a living. I myself worked full-time jobs while I ran the Temple of Zion. The actual people who deal drugs are hardworking Americans who pay their taxes and buy legitimate objects. But we are not represented in government or in court, which makes the government nothing but a bunch of thieves. This unjust treatment of my people is what has created our desperate anger. We are not given a voice or a chance to defend ourselves or our rights. Up until now, there has only ever been one side to the war on drugs, the government's. The last two verses say that a parable will be taken up against you, America. You will be utterly spoiled. He, God, hath changed the portion of my people. How he hath removed it from me. Turning away he hath divided our fields. The spoiling of America will be, as predicted, an evil time, which we're living right now. The upheaval of our social order and the instantaneous fall from grace of the false religions will indeed undermine the entire course of human history. The fall of an empire is a chaotic event. Society will reel from the shock of the rise of Zion. Psalm 7:13 becomes Zion 15:35. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. he hath ordained his arrows against the persecutors. 7:13 tells us that some people, in this case, the people who persecute my people, will be exempt from entry into the nation of Zion. Lawyers, it appears, are unwelcome in Zion, or at least those who convict people for the state. I do not make these rules, but refusing entry to the people who sent us to prison makes a lot of sense. However, I must point out that with the advance of COVID-19, I think that is actually the instruments of death that has been foreordained for the persecutors, which is the American people. So I think that the ravages of COVID-19 is God's response to Psalm 7:13. It's like the instruments of death is definitely COVID-19 and Trump, if you will. But it says more than just exemption from Zion. It says that they have ordained arrows against them. So they are singled out for destruction. According to the next passage, Psalms 35:20, which is Zion 15:36, for they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. Boy, look at the news today. That's exactly what we're dealing with. This is because they sought to devise deceitful matters against those who are quiet in the land. We are the quiet ones in the land who meekly submit to our horrific persecution. We did nothing to endanger the American public. We are not the unlawful ones who subjugate a poor people based on an 80-year-old war of unproven allegations based on government propaganda. We have done nothing wrong, which is why Black Lives Matter has been in the streets. But that has changed. Now, mega marches are in the streets. The next passage, Proverbs 16:2, becomes Zion 15:37. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits. Mega marches. That's really all I need to say right there. This next passage, Proverbs 16:2, points out that everyone considers his point of view to be right. We are all guilty of projecting our beliefs onto the world around us. We all judge each other based on our own perceived points of view, which we then call facts. Just because a human says it doesn't mean it's real. We all, even me, believe ourselves to be true, and our beliefs are also true. And with this being said, I must point out the obvious. Trump is leading his people in this very manner. They believe things that are totally false. He's literally saying that he won the election, and they are literally in the streets demanding that it be so. He lost the election, fair and square, but the Mega March says differently. And the gray are empathic by nature. They don't hear spoken words. They feel a person's inner dialogue, so they know exactly what's happening. You must use drugs in order for your thoughts to be heard. So they don't know your true intent or your true motivation in your words, only in your emotions. No one can lie to an empath as advanced as the gray. That is why mankind cannot deny the truth in regards to their motives to the gray. They know your intent, which is why this was put here. Boy, and I had no idea about COVID-19 and mega marches when I wrote this. And with that, I'm going to leave off. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your guild. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know I wrote the book. I'm going to say later now because I love you way too much to say goodbye.